Good evening, everybody. So tonight we're going live with Penny Smith. Was supposed to be at 8 PM on TikTok, but TikTok's been a bit crazy. Her camera ain't working, so we're trying it on Instagram instead. So hopefully it should work. Send me a request when you're ready, Penny. Hi, Brian. Just click on that. Yeah, that's it. Should work. Good evening. Never said to you in Penny. Is it working on your end, Penny? Maybe try rejoining, Penny. My best Croatia. Penny, try rejoining. Sorry about this, guys. It's back again. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, at last.
At last. Sorry about that.
Not your fault.
So, as I said via the message, we were talking about you having autism and that. By the sounds of it, later in life, autism.
Very much so. Sorry, granddaughter's just joined and she's a marvellous human being, my granddaughter. Yeah, I was 61. I got my diagnosis last summer at 61,
Yeah.
and it was quite a revelation, but also a roller coaster of emotions. And I went through a period of grief for a life lost almost.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
So, it was something I felt I had to do. It was lockdown that had shown me I experienced the world differently to perhaps others around me. And so I then went on a waiting list. And as we all know, the waiting lists take 2 to 3 years.
And that's when you found out that them years later, when, as you said, when you were 61, you were neurodiverse, a better way to put it.
Yeah. And I mean, now it's so obvious to me that, I have been, but not knowing I was autistic has certainly been detrimental during my life.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of time wondering why I reacted differently to people. Or whether you've got ASD or ADHD or any other diversity, no way is better than the other. They're just different ways of thinking.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
But when you're neurodiverse, it's like you have to speak 2 languages. You have to speak neurotypical as well as neurodivergent. But no neurotypical ever tries to speak autism or ADHD or anything else.
No. Because we're still normal people at the end of the day, but what is normal?
Yeah, exactly. What is normal, And there's been enough research and studies out there to find that teams at work best where there's a mixture of neurotypes.
Yeah.
You know, because you get a bigger all-round picture. So, you know, I can see things that other people miss, and then other people see things that perhaps I miss. Yeah.
Are you like me if like you hear a certain thing, like so if there's a certain noise that will trick you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
someone's having a conversation and it's nothing to do with you, you can still hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think to the point where neurotypical people really don't get it. So I was in a meeting last weekend, and we were put into groups, and the chairs of this meeting were sitting just to the side having a conversation, and I could hear every word that they said plus what was going on in the meeting.
Yeah.
And they almost think it's witchcraft, but it's not. It's because we don't have those filters.
No.
And not having those filters can sometimes be an advantage.
Yeah.
Because I picked up some gossip, and that was rather lovely, but they would not have thought so. No. I didn't tell them I could hear them.
No.
Perhaps I should have done. I don't know.
So before you realised you had autism, do you feel like you've always had it?
Oh, yes. I mean, when I look back at school was horrific. I'm dyspraxic as well, so I couldn't do sports. I could read. I was an advanced reader.
Yeah.
I was reading really early and reading really, you know, big words at a young age. So I was kind of considered a bit quirky, different, odd at school. I found making friends really difficult because of the dyspraxia, which I now know about. I couldn't draw, and I mean I couldn't draw. No. You know, I always got the head tilt in art, and the teacher saying, "Well, at least you tried." But yeah, school was difficult. I didn't really enjoy school. I did okay. Yeah. But I did okay in spite of it, not because, you know, had I had the accommodations that I should have had, then I'd have done better. And perhaps school would have been happier. So there we go.
Like I was going to do a collab once with another TikToker with their daughter, so maybe some of these questions might come into the collab, like question 3 and 4 that I had. How best to support yourself in a crowded place, would you say?
I suppose I've avoided them quite a lot. Yeah. Although I do go into crowded spaces. Yeah. But how best to help me? I think when I'm overwhelmed and need to walk away, don't try and stop me. The number of times an idiot, when I've said I need 5 minutes fresh air, has followed me and tried to make me come back in, when really at that point they run the risk of me going into meltdown. If they let me self-regulate by giving some time to me, then that would be better. But people don't often, people assume what they would like in a overwhelmed situation is what you would like. And I don't think people always listen enough to what works for you.
Yeah, I know what you mean, And then what support needs more resources, would you say?
For me, I just want more education out there. The minute I tell anybody I'm autistic, they immediately look at me as if I'm 50% less intelligent than I was the 10 seconds before I told them. They immediately assume things about me that just that they didn't assume when they didn't know I was autistic. And I find that rather funny. And because I'm the same person that I've always been, but people have this, because the media shows a lot of people with high support needs, right?
Yeah.
And the media isn't very good at showcasing the whole spectrum, because it is a spectrum.
It is.
The media think that if you've met one autistic person, you know all about autism. Well, you don't, because it's like neurotypical people. We all have different strengths and weaknesses and different abilities.
Yeah.
And people don't take that into account. They assume, or the other thing they always ask is, can I take you to a casino? Are you good at maths like Rain Man? Which is just offensive, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's other people's uninformed perception of what an autistic person should look like.
Yeah. But what
and so I always
does an autistic person look like? What do they look like? They're like a normal person.
Yes, because we're human to start off with.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason I started the TikTok, was partly because there must be more people of my age finding out they're autistic.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one. I follow quite a few now.
Yeah.
Ever since I found you, I follow quite a few that I found out later in life.
And I think that's really good that we can form. I mean, social media, we all know, has its faults.
Yes.
But it can bring a sense of community, because in everyday life, I'm not going to meet people who are like me, right? I'm going, or who I know are like me.
Do you know anyone apart from yourself? No.
Not locally.
Not locally, no.
And because the waiting lists are so long, and because very often older people are told, do you really need a diagnosis? If you've coped this long, what difference will a diagnosis make? But I'm really lucky, and I know I'm lucky. I have a wonderful GP surgery, but not everywhere is like that. And I am lucky in that respect, that I had a doctor, my GP listened to me, was supportive of me all the way through.
Yeah.
But I hear stories where, people are turned away. So.
Yeah. Are you, if you don't mind me asking, are you on meds?
No.
No.
Because I've always been anxious, always throughout my life, had anxiety, but everything that I've experienced like that is actually down to being autistic and not knowing, so not being able to ask for accommodations I might need, and also from the world not being set up for people like me.
And talking about the autism, I saw on your bio, what do you mean by ACE? I'm a bit confused.
That's to do with a different part of my identity that I am now.
Is it a sexual orientation, if I'm
Yes.
thinking rightly?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Won't go into detail because it's not anything to do with me, really.
Yeah, that's fine.
But so it's been quite a quick live, but as we know, it struggled a bit on TikTok because I thought with iPads, I thought it would normally accept camera, but it didn't seem to work. That's why I checked if you had Instagram. But so if it's been a quickish live, but it hasn't really. It's almost 8:30 already, so it's not been that quick if you think about it.
No, I had to switch to my phone in the end, even for this, even for Instagram.
Yeah.
So, I am lucky in that I do have support around me, and I have the support of colleagues within the trade union movement. I have the support of my family. I have support of friends, and so, but not everybody has that support.
No. But thank you for joining the live tonight.
That's okay. Thank you very much for asking me to contribute.
That's okay. Okay, then I'll let you get on with your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.